This is Dave Maltz with BIC Trikes. Today I'm going to show you how to build the brackets for the Ultra Classic. I get a lot of asks for this. If you buy a DIY shippable kit, this is the kind of kit you get. So this will already be here. You just bolt up your suspension, roll it up under, level it, measure both sides, make sure it's square, and then you're going to build the brackets. And you can see I just started this one right here. So what I did was I simply put the peg on it, measured it up, so I wanted to clear the bottom right there. I want to make sure it's at least a 1/4 of an inch, if not more, and then that it doesn't touch the peg. If it does, you can move your peg up. You have to. If your exhaust is bigger, you can move it one more up. And then I simply take a 1.25 inch, put the flat steel, have the hole drilled out, and have the nut behind it, put this through, and I put the tap on. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. And then I put it up here, clamp it, make sure it's level, make sure the bike's level, and then I tack it. And I use tack, the back end, tack at the bottom here, and tack here. Now you can put this on top of this if you want to. If you want to be farther out, you can put it right on the side of this. This is where I'm putting this one. Then I'll tack these four. I'll cover the exhaust while this is being tacked, and then I weld across the top here. Now, that's as much welding I'm going to do on the bike. So nothing else gets welded on the bike. I go ahead and weld this out. Once again, got something covering the exhaust, so the exhaust doesn't have to worry about getting messed up. But here's what it looks like when I'm doing it. So here's what I do. I did my measurements. So this right here is 7 inches. I put a little cap on it, weld it in, grind it down. 10 gauge, 1.25 inch. Then I'll take this, and like I told you, I've already measured this out. I already put one of these, as you can see, and make these right here. I'm a flat steel, drilled out hole, 7/16, put a nut behind it, weld it in, and it becomes a 5/8 head that goes in there, 5/8 bolt. So I get that, make this, then I'll clean it up and I'll put it on here. Weld it up, because I've got my measurements. I measured it, and then I use a 1/4 inch less. Then I take these two, and I'm going to take them, and before I put them on, I'm going to bolt them. And I want to show you, I'm going to bolt these together and how I tack it so I make sure it's true every time. So I've already got this done. I got that done. I marked it. I drilled out the hole. It's ready to be bolted together. So we'll come back when I get it bolted together and show you what it looks like on the other side when we're doing it. So as you can see, I came on this side. I clamp this up. I make sure that she's level this way. And it doesn't have to be. If you need to move one way or the other, you can. I just like it level. It just looks more uniform. It's going into the piece that I've already built for here. See those 2 bolts, holds in there. Now, I made sure it's level. Another thing I did was I take the foot peg and I'll put it in there and hold it tight and see if it clears. You do not want it to touch the bottom of this foot peg. This one does clear. So now all I'm going to do is, because I got these connected together, I got it screwed in here, got this the way I want it. It's level this way, clamp down here at the bottom. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to put tack, then come down here, tack it in several places. Then I'll cover this chrome here and weld across this. And then I will put the weld that goes across the top. The bottoms will be tacked in, and then that's how I weld this. So you know that you're perfect every time because it's just sitting there. See how that works? So it's not hard to build the brackets. You just get the measurements, you pre-deal the brackets, and you put up there and you tack it all together first. Then we'll take both of those both of these pieces on this side and that side. We'll take those off, weld them solid out, put them back on, weld it, bolt it down, we'll weld these solid out so it'll be completely welded, and then come back and do the back in the same way. So this, like I said, is for the Ultra Classic. I already have a video you can look up on how to build how to do this piece of metal here. There's difference in your years, so as long as this can come off on your earlier years, you can actually pull this off and just mark it. I have a fixture bit that I made a template, but nevertheless, and you can see that bolts in, it's not going anywhere. Okay, so now I've got it welded completely up, as you can see. And you'll notice, and I said this on the other video, I slotted this one. That one's not slotted, doesn't have to be. This one does, because you don't want to have to take your exhaust off to pull this off. Now on this one, I could have actually pulled it off by pulling the exhaust off, but I just want to show you. So we got our normal bolt hole, we got it slotted. I do grind this down a little bit so it can slide in easy and get plenty of penetration. The reason why I do this, it's because a lot of these bolts will back out and then they're going to touch the exhaust. And you've got to have enough room, so you'll bring this down just a little bit. Grind it down. Then it's simple as this. So as you can see, it goes here. I got this backed up, got it all welded up there. Now, I simply just take this, put it right in there like this, and then slide it down. Once you slide down, you see it's in there. Then I slide it forward. It doesn't touch anything, and booyah, you're ready to put your other bolt in. That's it. Then this is bolted in. So that's the reason why it's cut. The other side, same thing, except it's not cut. I don't take both bolts out at the same time. I don't want to lose it. So I'll take the top bolt out, and then, or the bottom bolt out completely. Leave the top bolt in, put it on the bottom, hand tighten it to where it's hand tight, and then I'll take the top bolt out, swing it around, and I'll show you that in a minute. But this is pretty much how we get it done. We'll go to the other side. Okay, so here we are. We're going to do the back end. I've already took the bolt out of here. You have two. Now, usually there's an exhaust, so you might have to use the inner bolt is what I usually use. But this one doesn't, so I can use the outer bolt on it. So I'll pull the bolt off. I've already measured from here, and I take a level, put it here, and level it, and then measured it. Came out 8 inches. Then I just simply take my 8-inch angle iron that I made, and I'll put it here like this, and then I'll put the level on it, and then I will mark the hole. That simple. And then I'm just going to drill the other hole for the other one right there, and I'll measure from there to there. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But I just simply measure from here to where it goes across. And then I cut it. Then I'm going to put it back here. And I'm going to mark the hole. Like I said, sometimes you have to go in the inner one. If you have to go in the inner one, sometimes you got to, kind of grind the ends up. Now you'll notice that I drilled the hole where I marked on this. But what I do on top of that right now is I'll go ahead and I'll turn it sideways and I'll put it on the bottom end. I know that this one, now they may be on the same side, this one's on the opposite. So if the drill hole's there, the bottom one's gonna be over there. Then I simply take that I made, put it there, and I mark it. I just give it a little bit of 1/8 of an inch there, just like that, mark it. That's where I'm gonna drill the next hole. That's gonna be the 7/16 hole. And that way both of them are done, and then I'll show you that I'm gonna bolt those to this once I get this done, so I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so I went ahead and drilled the hole out like I said. Remember the hole in the front? I did a 7/16 hole here where I put the 5/8 bolt in. You can see I put it in that way, and I go ahead and just snug that on. Now this is to make it easier for me. So what I'm gonna do here, I'll come over to the bike. I'm gonna put this back here with the bolt, and then I'm gonna get my measurements. I'll make sure this is level, and then I'll get my measurements. I'll show you how I do that in 1 second. Okay, so here I am, I bolted it in, I've leveled it, and then all I'm gonna have to do now is measure from that there to there and cut it. If it's a little, it should be even because I did the whole thing, but if it's a little high or low, it doesn't matter because you're gonna put it in and tack it and then pull it out and weld it up. So you'll be able to tack it, and if it's a little high or a little low, you'll tack it into place and it won't matter. So we'll show you how we do that. Okay, so I cut this as 4 inches and 1/16, 4 1/16. So I cut it, and you can see it fits in there perfectly. Then I put a magnet to hold it in the bottom. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tack, tack, tack. And then after getting those 3 tacks, tack there, and tack down there, I'm gonna pull it off, take it to my table and weld it up. And then after welding it up, I'll bring it back here again. Once it cools down, bolt it back in, slide it bolt back in, and I won't have to have that magnet no more because it's gonna hold where it holds. And then I'll tack, tack, and tack the bottom end over here. I'm gonna run a weld here and a downhill weld there. And that's just gonna hold the 2 sides, can't move. And then I'll take it apart. When we pull this whole thing off, I'll flip it upside down, weld the frame up everywhere. But this is how we do it. So you can see that's gonna be it. That's how easy it is. So you always mark, then we go ahead and pre-cut. So I'm just gonna tack those up, weld them, and then I'll weld that over there. And then that's it. It's part of the frame, just like the front end. So you ain't got to worry about it moving anymore. We do that for both sides. I've only done this side so far. I'll do it for the other side. That's what this is for. This is already cut, the 8 inches. And then that's pretty much it. And as you can see, it's all done. Okay, so come back in a minute. Okay, so here we are, and we've tacked it 3 places. I'm going to go ahead and put a tack there, and then I'm going to weld it all the way around and then let it cool and put it back over there. So I showed you that once you pull it off, you only got 3 tacks. That's all you can get to. Then I'm going to put the 4th tack in because I don't want it moving when I do the thing. So it's 4 corner tacks when it's all said and done, and then I'm going to weld it out. Okay, so I welded it, let it cool. I bolted it back in here, and it lands exactly where it's supposed to. So I'm going to tack, tack, tack underneath here, I'm going to weld this solid and then do a downhill pass there. And then that will hold it until I take this thing apart and weld all the spots. So that's pretty much it. You can see I got the other one while I was waiting. I went ahead and put the other one in and did it. It's over there cooling down right now. So that way you can keep moving, get it taken care of. But that's pretty much how you build the brackets on this. If you have any other questions or need a call for any advice, you can get a hold of me at 765-242-6651. Like I said, once again, this is David Moss with BIC Trikes. BIC stands for Brothers in Christ, where Jesus Christ gets all the glory. I hope you found this video very informational, and you get your bike done and you guys get your hair in the wind. Thanks so much, and God bless.